Well, welcome to Cooking with Heart for cancer. So we're going to talk about cancer today. So may I ask you there, is it Betty or Kathy? Yeah, here, Vaughn. Kathy, oh, that's your last name. Okay, sorry. I can't believe I can read. Can you catch the door? Just because sometimes there's sounds that come from the hallway, people are chit-chatting at the elevator there. So, okay, so welcome. I'm super excited to share with you some information on cancer and boosting up what you eat in a delicious way so that you can trip up, halt, slow down cancer. So, you're going to go away with some fun new ways to think about food. I really emphasize that a lot here in the cancer class. You'll see in some new ways. So some of you have been with me before and you know that I love sharing just some amazing facts about food, and you're going to be amazed, I promise you, with these foods for cancer. So, okay. So I am recording, so I'll have the recording. I never know how the recording, last week, the recording I did for the diabetes class, it froze for half of it. So I was like, for half of it. So we never know, but the audio came through good. So a big thank you to Trinity Health Foundation and Gilda's Club, because they make the cancer different. There's different funding for the different classes. So this one is Gilda's Club and Trinity Health Foundation. So a big thank you to them for making these available. Now in your binder, you should see on that first page a welcome letter, just kind of setting the tone for the classes, and then also asking you to think about, why you're taking this. So I really want you to think about why you're taking this. So yes, you're going to learn stuff. And, if you're a learner like me, this is going to blow your mind. But I also want you to think about what is it you're going to put into action, and how is this going to help your life in some way? So think about that. So, and I want to make sure that I'm fulfilling that throughout the class. So ask me questions. I'd love to hear if you're comfortable, if you want to share kind of why you're taking this class and what you want to get out, go ahead. I'd love to hear from you. Anybody want to share?
I just recently had a lumpectomy and I had an infection, and my friend Linda, who's a nurse here, is helping to pack that so it heals the inside out. So she stressed to me that I need to eat more healthy, heal my body, and so it can heal.
Sure. Awesome. Okay. Well, we want it to heal, and we want you to just squish that cancer away. So yes. So great, Shar. Thank you for sharing. Is that how you say your first name, Shar? Shar. Awesome. So anybody else want to share?
I'm 31 years post breast cancer, and I just want to not have it recur. It can happen anytime later, so I just want to get good foods and bad foods.
Okay, awesome. Yeah. Okay, you will.
I'm sure that will be covered.
Oh, we will. Yeah. We will go depth into that. Awesome. So, anybody else?
Just preventative to just build my body up for my immune system. So I know I'm doing the right thing because I think I am sometimes, but then I'm not. So that's where I'm kind of, because I wasn't sure the sugars and carbs, and I'm not sure about carbs and sugars.
Yes, we're going to cover that today, Bonnie.
Yeah, that's all I understand.
Yes, Bonnie wants to boost up her immune system, prevent it. So yeah, we're going to cover that today. Great. Come on in, grab, the routine, binder, name tag, and pre-assessment. So awesome. And you want to share there, Kathy?
Yeah. So I'm with my mom, who's a 30-plus-year cancer survivor, but I also have a sister who was diagnosed with breast cancer. So for me, at this point in my life, at 63 almost, it's about preventative.
Sure.
Can I put it in my body?
Yeah, Kathy. Okay, awesome. We are going to definitely cover that. And thank you for bringing Mary Jo. So welcome, Mary Jo. So awesome. Okay, well, I love hearing about that. We will definitely cover these things that were shared. And I also try and incorporate throughout the class some mindset, or maybe you want to call them psychology pieces, because I've learned throughout my practice of years and years that really information is awesome, but you need more than information. So, and I want to help there with whatever you need to put into practice what's going to end in these goals that you've shared here. So, I want you to think about two statements I'm going to say right now. You will make positive changes. So if you're comfortable with me on 3, I'd like you to say, I will make positive changes together. 1, 2, 3. I will make positive changes together. Yes, I love that. So, and the second thing is I will see results. I will feel or see results. So 1, 2, 3. I will see and feel results. So awesome. So it's just very different saying it, feeling it, putting it out there. So I promise these 4 classes are going to positively impact your life. Now I realize that you're busy and you've got a lot of commitment. So I really appreciate you being here. And and as best you can, I ask that you commit to the 4 classes. I know I've already heard, some people might have a schedule conflict. That I totally understand. It's just, as you'll see today, it's a different thing when you're in the class live and you get to taste things. So, and I know there's good intentions to listen and get caught up. You can always go to the class the next time I offer. Now, the next time I'll offer a cancer is not till September. So, but you're always welcome to attend in person a class that you missed, or just go through the series again. So, okay. So let's dig in a little bit. So give me a thumbs up or thumbs down according to this statement. So give me a thumbs up if you believe more than 10% of cancers are caused by an inherited gene. And give me a thumbs down if you believe less than 10% of cancers are caused by an inherited gene. So thumbs up or thumbs down for 10% is up, greater than, or less than 10% down. So I see some up and I see some down. So there's a lot of confusion with cancer. So the correct answer is it's between 5 and 10%. So of inherited genes caused by cancer. Now, 40% is what prevention lifestyle can help with, and the other has to do with kind of environmental and other kind of things in there. But lifestyle, we've got 40% to work with in cancer. So that's a big piece of it. So, and I'm really hopeful that we can find out ways to even boost that up more. Now, I can't guarantee you aren't going to get cancer. I can't guarantee that. But what I can guarantee is that by following things that I say in this class, now there's not like a 10 list, and actually at the end I will give you kind of my biggest items, foods to be eating for halting, tripping up, and stopping cancer. All of these that I cover, though, are going to do tremendous things. So my gift to you at the end, if you come to that last one, is that, but you will be stronger. You will slow it down. I can guarantee that. So a little bit about me. I have not had the journey with cancer. My mom has had 5 cancers. She had her first one at 52 young, breast, 3rd stage. She had a mammogram 6 months before. And now mammograms have improved quite a bit since then. She's now 82. So, but she insisted, thank goodness. Okay. She saw a change in her breast and she said, there's something there. And they said, no, you've had a mammogram. And so thank goodness she insisted. So, and she changed her lifestyle. She had 1 grandchild then, my oldest. She's now 27 on Saturday, she'll be. And I still remember her holding her tightly. So, and she changed her lifestyle completely, her eating, her exercise, and her stress. Now she's 82 young now. She does things, she survived 5 cancers and I think she's about 10 years from the last one. So, and she's, very healthy. She just went to Australia at the beginning of this year. She's actually visiting here. She has 2 houses because the husband she married 2 years ago is in Arizona. So she's all over the place. And she goes to the bottom of the Grand Canyon, takes grandkids in her 80s. So by herself. So walking. So, that's who I want to be. Now she, she's had, those cancers, I don't even want to use the word, have not been fun. So it's, those beat her up quite a bit. And she has, she's very thankful for every day she has. So, but she is my inspiration. Okay. So today, just a little peek at what we're doing. We're going to do sunrise donuts, and we're going to do home style rice and beans. So these all are just floured with all kinds of great stuff. And then also I will share the golden chia, or chai. So and that's something that I drink all the time. So okay, so now let's get to some of the juicy info here. So let's switch to the PowerPoint. Let's see. Can you see that cancer myth busting there?
Yeah.
Okay, awesome. So let's go ahead and get that. Okay. So as you know, those have been with me before, the first thing that I really emphasize in any series is these 4 principles, foundations. They're not rules. They're just the foundation of anybody that's doing lifestyle change that lasts. I haven't ever seen anybody that doesn't have these that aren't making sustainable changes. So the first thing is have an open mind. So really be that scientist looking for things, trying out things, okay? So I know I ask you to try out things in new ways. In the dish today, the home style beans, we're gonna throw in walnuts, and we're gonna just put lots of spices in it, and we're gonna put it on a romaine lettuce leaf. I mean, these are things that but you've probably never put together this way. So having that open mind, and also having that open mind to just explore and be willing to stumble and pick up and say, okay, I want to figure this out because I know this has got gems in it for me. So, everything has gifts in it. And sometimes the richest gifts are when things go off course. So just be ready for that. So, healthy food should not be boring. Okay. It doesn't have to be. Now it can be. Want it to be. So, but it doesn't have to be. So you are here breaking that mold, that myth. So second thing is take baby steps. So this is really hard for a lot of people that are very high achieving, go for it, hardworking. I know a lot of you are, but really the baby steps. Okay. And I share with you that I'm getting healthier all the time. I'm finding new ways. I'm experimenting at home. I'm hoping to share some new things with you before the class is over because I, heard and saw that. And I'm like, oh my goodness, I never knew that. So I just, I'm getting healthier because I incorporate baby steps. And, I would, here and there I waste food because I'm like, oh my goodness, I didn't do anything with that one. But then I gradually figure out dishes that help kind of at the end of the week and, how to store them. And so just be, patient with yourself. So this is a journey. So just small little steps, anything is going to make a difference. So have self-compassion. Most of us aren't so great about this. Okay, we're great for our friends, great for our kids, but we're not so great for ourselves. So have self-compassion, be kind to yourself, be your best friend. Okay, we are motivated truly the best by lifting up. And for some reason, we do kind of sometimes towards ourselves berate ourselves. So we all know that we would never do that to our grandchild or child that is in need of feeling that love. We just need to do that to ourselves too. So be there for yourself, have self-compassion, even when things seem really tough, because this is tough stuff, guys. So, and the last thing, have fun. As many of you know, I have my wine glass here. No wine in it, it's water. So you're more than welcome to do whatever at home, but find your special dishes. We've come to all my kids have the special bowl, and I see them go through the dishwasher constantly. We all have our own. So just find your special dishes that you really celebrate and put together food in a way that you connect with it and you recognize what it's doing in your body, and it better taste delicious. So, okay. So let's get into some of these myths here. A big one is does sugar feed cancer? That's definitely the number one when it comes down to what nutritionists and dietitians are asked. Now the problem here is it's not black and white. So and so everybody kind of wants that yes or no, and it's not. So every cell in the body needs some simple sugar or glucose is what it's called, the form of glucose. Your body runs really well on it. So the mistake is when people think, oh, I'll just avoid, sugar because it feeds the cancer. So, but, it just doesn't work that way. So, or maybe I'll eat sugar because it'll feed my body. No, it doesn't work that way. Okay. So your body really prefers whole foods, and it prefers the complexity of that. It's got like an orchestra that goes on in your body, and it works beautifully like a community together. So your body breaks down your food, your whole foods, into building blocks. And these smaller portions or building blocks are then absorbed into your body. It is complex. There's a lot of transporters and things that happen, but your body does so well on this, and it doesn't do real well on feeding lots of sugar at once. It really freaks out because evolutionarily, only in the last 50, 60 years has your body ever encountered simple sugar straight the way it's getting it now, daily doses several times throughout the day. So if you can think of it, I think of it like when you send a lot of sugar into your body, like an alarm system. Just all alarm systems are going off in your body, and your body is freaking out. You may you get a signal. That's nice, Bonnie. So most of us don't. So some of us can and some of us can't tell. So yes, so your body is freaking out on the inside when you give it that burst of straight sugar. So, and your body does really some undesirable, unhealthy things when it gets blasted with the sugar. So, okay, so that's a healthy body. Healthy body, sugar in these blasts doesn't do well. What about the cancer cells, the evil cancer cells? Well, they love refined sugar. So now I think of cancer cells as pretty simple-minded. So they do well with blasts of sugar. Okay, they like that. That's like, ooh, lots of calories, good. So both healthy and unhealthy cells will be able to work with sugar. But the form it makes is a big difference. When you eat whole grains, you get tons more than just the glucose. So you get the fiber, the minerals, the phytochemicals, which I'll talk more about, especially next week. But even though there's glucose in it, it's tucked in. And again, your body does complex very well. It's very different. Don't think of it as the same as eating sugar. So it's very different when you eat pasta that's white or a donut that's the traditional donut. So you want to eat whole foods as close to whole foods as you can most of the time. So blasts of sugar do some things in your body, and I'll throw a couple things out that aren't good. They suppress your immune system. So my kids know the best thing you can do to keep sick is eat lots of sugar. Okay. So it just stops your immune system. So also the body like kind of says, ooh, calories, let's save this for a rainy day. And it tends to pack it around the belly, especially when you're up there in years. Okay. So, and that's not good. We won't have time to go into depth, but the belly fat, it's not the pinch and inch, it's the fat around the organs. It's really unhealthy. Okay. And we're discovering that there's a lot of people that are walking around that they look visually like they're not carrying extra weight, but if they're carrying extra weight around their organs, it's super unhealthy. So,
And kids tolerate sugar more than adults because it seems like kids they have sugar.
Bonnie asked a good question about, can kids tolerate sugar better than adults? I would say no in general. Okay, not black and white, but in general, they're more active. They have a higher caloric need because they're growing and their hormones and things like that. So they just have a higher need. But the reason why I say no is because I know that we are seeing, unfortunately, when kids die from a car accident or something, and we look at their autopsies, we are seeing what's called fatty liver. And fatty liver used to be from alcohol, and now it's actually from high sugar intake. And we are actually, the transplant list for liver is now being dominated by people with fatty liver from now this is simplistically, but they're eating the wrong foods. Okay,
When my daughters were growing up, I didn't have all that stuff in the house.
right.
But after swimming, my son-in-law, we went afterwards for donut. And I didn't have any, but to sit there and watch my grandson eat that big donut,
Yeah,
it was really hard.
It's
for me
hard.
Because I didn't think it was necessary to have it because it was empty calories.
it's very hard. And I've got kids,
That's
4,
not easy.
and even with me making available whole foods, they get so many opportunities outside when they're going to friends, church, school, that sporting events have yet to really catch on to what they're doing because they're burning all the calories. So it seems like they're not doing ill, but you know, they might be burning. And when you're actually very active and having sugar, you know, there can be a little bit of a balance you're burning off, but you have to be pretty active to do that. But the thing is, once they're into college or beyond, they're going to be they've got the habits built. And so then we're going to see, but we are seeing kids as young as in their young 20s that have fatty liver disease. And so that it can lead to different things, diabetes, it can lead to cancer, it can lead to heart disease. But it's something that we don't traditionally talk about, but one of the first organs that gets hit with some of this high sugar is your liver and your pancreas.
Yeah.
So yeah, I would say not. I'd say we are going to see the ramifications of these kids getting so much of the sugar, so blasted with. So another thing is your triglyceride levels go up. Okay, your body, when it gets that blast of sugar, it freaks out and it's going to convert it again to fat, and it does it very well. And then it'll pack it. That's when it gets packed. But in your bloodstream, it's triglyceride. So your triglycerides go up. And if you've heard my talk in the other class about triglycerides, when your triglycerides are high and when your HDL is low, your heart attack risk is 6 times. So it's just primo. So, okay, another food fact is cancer cells will make sugar themselves if you try and starve yourself totally of sugar. So it's a process called gluconeogenesis. Now, does it hurt the cancer some to cut out sugar? Of course. So, but the cancer, it's complex for the cancer. It's not as simple as just cut out the sugar. So, and the carb. And of course, some of you may know that the carb and the sugar, if you don't have fiber wrapped around it, they're pretty much the same. So, yes.
So like in some, might have been cookies or something. not
Yeah.
my question, but because
No.
of sugar, but
Yeah.
if you use a sugar substitute, does that make a difference on your, what that? Like the-
Okay, usually you're asking about substituting sugar, substitute. So the big picture to me is that cookies shouldn't be a meal. It should be a small something that you enjoy. So you should be able to use regular sugar, okay, in the scheme of things. If you want to play around with sugar substitutes, go ahead, that's fine. I in general, without getting into each of the sugar substitutes, because they're all different and some people can't, they can taste them, their aftertaste, that kind of thing. I say, well, sugar substitutes are about half as dangerous as sugar. So are they totally safe, neutral? I wouldn't say so in larger, and I'm not saying bathtub amounts, but if people are regularly having them every day, like the Diet Cokes and stuff like that. Some people are susceptible to some conditions that could aggravate through that. Some people might be just fine. I didn't really fully, again, it's not a black and white answer. I traditionally don't have sugar substitutes at home. I'm just going to use a little bit of brown sugar or white sugar because I need to step back. If I'm using so much sugar, I need to step back and say, what's going on? Am I stressed? Am I making stuff that's available around the house that maybe I should cut that out a little bit or cut back? So those are now everybody's going to be different according to your household, maybe the habits you grew up with, and maybe sugar substitutes are a transition because you have a high maybe dessert habit that you want to curtail and work your way. That's fine. And you're making whole food baked products. Okay. Yes, that's better than the Twinkie. So yeah. So, it's really, it's okay to use sugar substitute, but you shouldn't have enough that is affecting you, and the same with the sugar. So, Monk fruit. The problem with monk fruit right now is that it's made with erythritol. Usually, I haven't seen it in the grocery store without that because monk fruit is so sweet. You have to have a filler with it, something with it, and so there's a little question with erythritol right now. With I still get both sides from good sources. Yes, it's okay. No, it's not okay. So like like for oatmeal, occasionally I'll make a date. What do you call it? Not sugar date. What's the word I want? Paste. Yeah, date. Thank you. Date paste for my oatmeal. That takes a little time. So, but if I could pay somebody to make that for me every morning, probably would. It has a little bit of nutrition in it, but it's not a ton. Like the sugar is still prominently there. That's bringing my blood sugar up. So using a couple teaspoons of sugar in my big bowl of oatmeal, that's fine overall. So hope that helps. So, and you'll see we do use sweeteners with a teeny bit of something else in them, but I want you to know there's still sugar and they're probably less processed than table sugar. Table sugar does go through a lot of processing from the cane sugar in the field. So the bottom line is avoid large amounts of sugar, bottom line. Okay, really do try and go smaller portions on the ice cream, less often. I'm not saying no, but also make it in the mix of things. Don't have it after a 6-hour fast, a big bowl of ice cream. Okay, your body's going to freak out. So now here on the screen, I have about 75% of packaged foods with a package on them have added sugar. So these are a few of the names. There's 61 names that are illegal to put on the labels. So you can notice there's OSE, dextrose, sucrose, fructose, OSE, signal. If you think it is sugar, it is, guys. It is. They don't usually put the word sugar on there. They use something else to kind of, disguise it a little bit. In general, I look for the top 3 to 5 ingredients. I don't even often look at the added sugar. It's just so easy to kind of funk with that. So I go to the ingredient list because they're listed by weight. And so if they're listed the third thing, that's the third thing by weight. That's a lot in that product. So I'm going to be like, ooh, that's pretty much sugar. So that's kind of my guide, 3 to 5. Then I'm going to kind of take a second look at, should I really be having that? Okay, so hopefully I clarified a little more for the sugar. Does an alkaline diet starve cancer? Okay, so a little bit about pH here. So this myth came about because some scientists grew in a petri dish very fast in acidic conditions cancer cells. Okay, so people then leap to the conclusion that, oh, my acid blood is going to make it, it's going to be worse for the cancer. So, but okay, I would, what's complex here is your body holds your blood pH at a very close level. It's got your kidneys to help with that and your lungs. And that's one of their major jobs is kidney and lungs. And they don't need help. They don't really, they're not hard. This is not their secondary. This is their primary function is keeping your pH in this range of 7.35 to 7.45. So it's just kind of like the thermostat at home. When you set it, it keeps it there. It will kick in whatever's needed. So it's, and foods you eat that are acidic, like protein and alcohol, and then alkaline is like fruits and vegetables. When they hit your stomach kind of blasts them with a lot of acid. So just start chopping them down. So you can see your stomach here is acid is about 1. It says 1 here. It's really about 1.5 to 3.5. That's very acidic to break it down. It's just to start breaking the bonds into simpler. So it also helps neutralize harmful pathogens. So, so when you eat an acidic or alkaline food, it's really not changing things in your blood like we think it has. So I want you to keep that in mind. And overall, if you're going to eat more alkaline, you're going to eat more fruits and vegetables for the most part. It's, it's the protein, the alcohol and stuff that are more on the acidic end of things. So in general, I don't worry about this at all. Okay. We don't really have founded research to back this up. So green tea, big, yes. So it has this thing called Gallus catechin gallate. We usually call it ECGC. And it's a super strong antioxidant. It's one of the most researched ones in real foods. It protects your DNA, messes with cancer growth, and the ability for cancer to spread. It helps abnormal cells destruct and eliminates them. So that's a really big part of cancer, because when you have cells that are really kind of dysfunctional and they stick around, they create problems that are not good. They're good for cancer, but not good for your health. So getting rid of them. So basically green tea has multiple things it does. So the weight of proof in animal studies is strong. In human studies, you'll hear it's inconclusive because it's really hard to do people studies, guys. It's really hard with foods like green tea, because who's going to make $1 billion off of green tea, guys? Okay. Lipton, you just go get it from Lipton. So, so it's just companies aren't going to invest in the true gold standards that they need to do. And cancer takes a while to grow. So we have to follow up for a while. So what they do is observational data. They look at like the NHANES data that was collected over 30 years and generational, and they kind of look at what they've eaten, and it's food recall. They didn't actually put them on the plate for them and have them, only eat that. So it's really, really hard. But in general, I will tell you, this is one of the strongest ones for green tea for cancer. So a couple of recommendations. Is for tips for green tea. First, 170 degrees is technically the perfect. It's not boiling for the best flavor. Your polyphenols, the good stuff, are fine. Don't worry if you overboil it, but you start to get more bitter compounds when you go over that. So 3 to 5 minutes steeping for, again, flavor. If you find that your tea's a little bitter, it's probably because you're steeping it too long. So no ice. If you put ice, then the polyphenols cling to the ice, so you better eat the ice. Okay. So if you're going to eat the ice, you're okay. But most people, they leave the ice in the bottom. So if you add milk to it, just make sure you drink it within an hour, because the milk starts to change things. It doesn't happen instantly, but it inhibits some of the catechins there. So forget the bottled tea drinks, in the, drugstore or the gas station, those kind of things that say green tea, and they're just too processed. You're not going to have hardly anything in there that's good. Now, if you don't like the taste of tea, because it is kind of like grassy green tea. So, and Lipton, any brand really is going to be good. I haven't found anything saying that you have to get this brand. Andrew Weil does have, he processes matcha in Japan. Andrew Weil is kind of the father of a lot of functional medicine in Arizona. And he doesn't even want to be known as functionally, started very conventional and just started asking good questions back 30, 40 years ago. But he actually has some green tea and matcha is like a super high concentration of green tea that's grown under careful conditions. It grinds up the actual tea leaves. So you get a bigger bang for your buck in a way, and it is expensive to get what they call the ceremonial matcha, which is kind of the most gently handled. But I usually say if somebody doesn't really like green tea, and I'd recommend you drink 2-3 cups a day. The head of the Cancer Institute in San Francisco, he drinks 5 cups a day, and he recommends to all his patients to drink 2 to 5 cups. So it does have a little bit of caffeine, so make sure it's not a hit like coffee caffeine, but it does have a little bit. So make sure you're not having it close to bedtime.
They do have decaffeinated teas.
Yeah, they're going to have some of the catechins, so that you can do. Yeah. So, but the matcha is kind of equivalent to about 10 cups of green tea. So if you want to have, and sometimes sometimes on Saturday, I'll just make a raspberry matcha. It's basically raspberry and soy milk and a little sugar and matcha in there. A raspberry kind of works well with that kind of grassy flavor. So if you want that recipe, let me know. You still can pick up just a teeny bit of the grassy, but it's actually delicious. So I'll drink that sometimes on Saturday if I haven't had my green tea throughout the week. So let's see, white tea actually has the highest GC White tea is the most expensive, so it's hardest to get. So, green tea is very good. And actually black tea has some good stuff in it too. So if you prefer black, it's fine. So,
Just make a comment, not
Yeah.
that people want to buy a thermometer, but in reading how to make the best tea, it suggests not putting it in the microwave, but to boil it in a teapot, and when it just barely starts to boil, is the best
that,
temperature, and it's still very warm if you do that. I
okay.
haven't measured the temperature.
Sure, Carolyn. Okay, so that's gonna, help with that kind of tannin flavor that happens instead of over steeping. So you're still fine with catechins, no matter how.
It's not to squeeze the tea bag.
Yeah, okay. Yeah. So great tip, Carolyn. I'll have to remember that. So thank you. Yes, yes. So these are just optimal ways to have your tea. So, okay. So ginger, garlic, turmeric. Yes, yes, yes. So all these things are very strong. Probably the strongest is turmeric. So all these are like green tea where we see inconclusive, but the animal research is very strong. Powder or fresh, on all these works. I'll share some more nitty-gritty details as we get to it. But now just start using more of these and start thinking about just other herbs and spices too. Cinnamon, a lot of times I'll add cinnamon to my coffee. If I remember, I try and set the shaker next to the coffee maker. So cinnamon's a great one too for, again, it has a lot of good benefit in there. Chili powder, we're going to use that today. Cumin, oregano, cilantro. Those are all good. Yes,
I have a
Kathy.
question on the ginger. I did buy some recently and
Yeah.
it's fresh.
Yes.
I bought some crack there,
Yes.
but I'm not sure how to use it.
Yeah.
It's like little flakes.
Okay. You can, so you could drop it in the tea, but you probably don't want to swallow. You can just let it give the tea the flavor. You can actually take fresh ginger. We don't have a recipe today with fresh ginger, and you can peel it and drop it in. So just, use it that way. So usually, I'm not sure the flakes, how those come. A lot of times too, you can freeze ginger too, fresh ginger. So, but ginger is great. So you can grate it and stuff. It really has good kick. So today our tea has ginger, but we use powder. So yeah, ginger is fantastic. So one more topic, we're gonna get to cooking real quick. Whole foods is best. I'm not a big push on supplements in general. Dietitians aren't, because we know whole foods are kind of like that orchestra. It's just the sound is much better than one thing, and you actually tie up some supplements will tie up some transporters, so they'll make other things a little harder to get through. So it's complex. You do want to let your provider know any supplements you're on. I know a lot are touted out there. And there are some, definitely some instances where you want to have a supplement. Do be careful because supplements are not a regulated kind of industry, and they never will be because they have one of the largest lobby groups. So, what that means is unless they have the USP certification, I don't really trust them. There's a site that I have that also tests them, but companies have to pay to be tested too. So I know there's some that aren't on there, but there's so much filler put into supplements. And so you're not getting what you think you're getting. And secondly, you might have an allergy to something in there. Now, even if you don't think you have allergies, in truth, we are all allergic to something on this planet. We just may not know yet what we're allergic to. So, so just be careful. It does cost a little more oftentimes to have a supplement that's been verified. But, I hear all the time, 18 out of 20 supplements didn't have what they said they were, it's like, okay. So, okay. And you've got in your binder, the kind of the plate there, but we want 3/4 of our plate to be plants, and just start thinking of them as plants, whether they're whole grain or fruits and vegetables, they're plant. And we can up our plant intake through spices and just all this stuff we've been talking about right now. So the tea and stuff like that. So start thinking about easy ways that you can do that. So I want to get going cooking, but I want you to just take a second while I'm getting things set up here to think about your action step that you want to do, because you came to this class so that you can improve your health, your fighting, your immune system, your cancer reoccurrence, or just never. So, just start thinking about what one easy baby step can you do this next week. So make it a baby step. And you're going to want to integrate in several strategies because none of these are, there's 10 steps in cancer that have been identified essentially, and they're pretty common to all cancers, no matter the type. And so you need different things that, work at different steps in the cancer process. There's nothing that works at all of them. So, okay, so we're going to get off of here, and we are going to, let me get out of here. I think we're still sharing. So, and we're going to do donuts. So time to do donuts. So I'm going to switch my camera real quick. So devices, settings, I guess. Oh, there we go. Okay. So we want to switch to the room camera here. Okay, you should see here now. So I am going to, so the Sunrise Donuts. So cool thing about this is we've got whole ingredients. We've got the sweet potato, and we've got the chickpeas in there. So we have whole foods in there that are going to provide fiber. They're going to fill us up much better than a Krispy Kreme donut is. And I know it doesn't taste the same, but they do taste delicious in a different way. And we can do fun things with them. So I'm going to put in my blender. I just cut up I do a little over 1 cup, and then it shrinks down to 1 cup cooked. But just so you guys can see here real quick, a sweet potato, I peeled it, is pretty dense. So you got to be careful cutting it. I usually just cut it in chunks like this. Is easy to work with. If I've got a huge potato, I might cut it in 3 or 4. And then I stand it up on the solid edge. So then I can put my weight behind it and go down. And then I'll take, again, just be careful because you've got to put a little bit of weight behind it. So get the flat edge down and cut your small cubes there. So just make sure that you're getting a flat edge as quick as you can on the bottom so that when you're cutting it, putting that pressure, you're not getting in trouble danger-wise. So you cut yourself and slip with the knife. So, okay. So I've got cooked there. I just use this. This is one of my favorite kind of things for the microwave. You don't have to get Pampered Chef, but I do have trouble finding any that are this. I don't know if they have a trademark on this, patent on it, but it has vents in the top. I never, ever add water. I do broccoli, onions, mushrooms, everything in here. And I never have to add water. So, and if I do, it's Pampered Chef, and it's a microwave steamer. I do chocolate in here. It melts chocolate beautifully. So, but I just did 2.5 minutes. Your more robust ones like this, I usually broccoli, I just do 1.5 minutes. So I've got that in there. I'm going to put in my maple syrup. So a little bit of vanilla. So I use maple syrup. Again, that's sugar, guys. It's sugar. It's just, it has a little teeny bit of nutrition. It also brings the flavor. It's not just, it is gaggy sweet, yes, but it adds a little bit of other flavor in there. So, and then our chickpeas, a whole can of chickpeas there. So I'm just going to, let's see, 1 tablespoon of canola oil. We usually use canola. The only reason we don't use olive oil is because you want a bland oil. Okay, so olive oil, the good olive oil that I use, has a little bit of flavor. So I'm just going to put this on here, and we're just going to blenderize this up. Maybe. There we go. Scrape that down. I use my regular blender at home. I made a batch already for you guys to taste this weekend. So I just use I don't have a food processor, so I just use a regular old-fashioned blender. No, I did drain them already. So good question, Bonnie. I did drain them. And I use the no added salt. You save about 400 grams of sodium per serving when you use the no added salt. Okay, you want to get it pretty smooth. We're going to do that. And then I'm going to get a bowl. I've got my white whole wheat flour. Anybody worked with the white whole wheat flour?
Never tried it.
Okay, I've got it up here. You want to look at it. You can see here that it is not quite white, but it's not as dark as whole grain that we've used to using. This is new to consumers. It's really not new in the manufacturing world. It's made from, it's a whole wheat. So it's got the three layers in there. So that's why we can't just substitute this one for one in your regular recipes. You can substitute about half, like all purpose. Say it calls for a cup of all purpose. You could do half of this, the white whole wheat, and half all purpose. Try that there, because again, this is whole grain. It's got the 3 layers. So, and then I'm adding my cinnamon, my baking powder. Baking powder, we have not been able to find the low sodium one since COVID kind of started. It just kind of disappeared. So there is such a thing. You might be able to order on Amazon, but it has half the sodium, about 30 grams of sodium versus 60 milligrams of sodium. So, but if you do a lot of baking, actually bread products have a lot of sodium. So I'm just going to mix that up, and then I'm going to add and I'm going to show you real quick, because I already have some done doing it, and we don't need to actually go through cooking all this, but I want you to be confident doing all the steps. Yeah.
Did you put the eggs and vanilla in that?
No, I didn't put the eggs. No wonder. Thank you. I need to.
And yogurt, and yogurt.
Oh, the yogurt. Yes, thank you. I put them in the refrigerator because I didn't know. Oh, no. Okay. You know what? We're going to just hand mix this. Okay. So because that blade is not, I know from practice, that blade is not going to go back in there. It's going to fight me. So we're just going to mix this. So thank you for catching that. Yes. So we do have 2 eggs, and we do have yogurt. So yogurt is able to help me. I find yogurt's a really great substitute in some baking products to help me cut down on the fat. So I only used, there's some fat from the egg yolk, and then there's about 1.5 gram of saturated fat in each egg yolk, and then there's the 1 tablespoon of canola oil. So I've been able to cut down. What's that?
Our body does need some fat.
It does. So yes, and we've got for the vitamins A, D, E, K, we need to absorb that. So, okay. So, yes, I did add that. Thank you. I did.
Good to see that.
So yeah, I kind of threw that in. Sorry. So thank you for catching that. So we have vanilla, maple syrup, the canola, 1 tablespoon, the beans drained and rinsed, 2 eggs, and the yogurt.
What is
So-
that with almond flour too? Because I love it.
I have saved, because somebody's asked that before. I haven't replied because it does do a little different. Let me look that up. Bonnie, if you want to do gluten-free with the almond flour. So I'll look that up and send that out to the group. So I occasionally have people that want to do that. Okay. I would just want to look at that's a great idea. It should be fine. What?
The Silk brand.
Yeah, it should be fine. It should be, because I really find the yogurt is kind of getting a consistency there. So if you try that, Mary Jo, let us know how that goes. Okay, thank you. That's a great thing. But I really find, years ago, applesauce was the thing to substitute. And I did that for years. I did non-fat baking in the 80s and 90s. But
Yogurt usually is thicker.
it's thicker, and yeah, it's got more protein, so it does. But the cookies
It still work.
yeah. So yeah, it does, but it gives a better texture. I find the cookies I do with applesauce kind of fall flat quick, and they can burn quickly with the and I'm going to use just this to put in pipe, because I don't know about you, but I'm not the greatest at getting it into this donut pan. So I'm just going to show you real quickly. You roll down the edges, stuff it in the corner there. And then we're just good. And here's the thing too, I found out, not all baggies have right corners. Okay, some of them do this curly thing. So it makes it really difficult to pipe through. Okay, so just make sure you get one without. So we're just gonna, like this. I just want to show you, so you're confident. Now, I'll show you one donut I did without. If you don't, oops, here we go. We're going both ends. Without a donut pan. If you want to try this out before investing in a donut pan, or you just want to do it without, that's perfectly fine. So here, I'm making a mess like that. So I usually take the spoon behind and just do a little kind of it kind of flattens down. You see, it kind of does. So, okay, so that's what I do. Put it in there. I sprayed it with the non-stick. And let me show you, I already decorated these, but we'll put these out because you guys are gonna go taste these. So,
It's just like, you do, like Rachel Ray.
so, okay, so you want to see these. So these came out, you need to let it sit. It's very hard. You need to let it sit. And then sometimes I do have to take a knife around it real gently, be real patient, not, so that they flip out nicely. I usually do the flipped out side as the top. So, and this is just, I can't find non-fat cream cheese anymore either since COVID. So if you can find that, great. But yogurt works with a little bit of vanilla and sweetener in it. And then add, shaved dark chocolate here. I just used the Ghirardelli shaved chocolate there. Blueberries, these are freeze dried. You can get these at Walmart, Target. So blueberries or strawberries, but make a, if you're having people over, make a donut bar. That's what I've had people do that. So you can make your own. This is just a little sprinkling of powdered sugar. It does need a little bit of, because we're thinking it's a donut. So we need a little bit of sweet there. But just be creative, all kinds of different ways we can do it here. So it's a bunch of fun. So we've got those donuts there. So, just enjoy. Have fun with it.
Somewhere in here, you said if you don't want to buy a donut, and you could just use a muffin.
Oh, yes, thank you. That's what I did.
Yeah.
So that one in the middle actually is a muffin. I don't know if you can see there. It's got the muffin edges. So what I did, and if you don't have a muffin pan, because I know some people may not, okay, just take two. It works better with two. Just take two, then put it in there, not all the way up because it's going to come up, and then just carefully take it out, and then you can either find something or whatever, but I just did it at Apricot in there, took it out the center. So that middle one there is actually, I wanted you guys to, thank you for bringing that up, because I want people to, I don't want you to make the investment until this is something you're going to make regularly. We don't need extra pans and extra things to be spending on. So, but if that's something that you want to do, because I want you to enjoy food. I want you to enjoy getting people together and having delicious food that's also good for them. So, I've had, people do for their grandkids a donut bar where they, on the weekend, they had their grandkids over and they made a donut bar, so that's fun. And I want you to think of, we just need to use our minds to think of ways that we can have fun doing these things. So, okay. Then I want to do the, real quick, I want to make sure you know how to make this one, because this one is so beaming with great stuff. But it's a little different. So I need that open mind here. So what I've done here, I already made the brown rice here. So we're gonna go with that because we're up at the hour. But I made it with a Minute Maid. The Minute Maid brown rice, or you can do the bags, are super easy because they don't take the 25 to 40 minutes that brown rice can take. They cook it and they stop it. They don't fully cook it through. It's called parboiled. I need to look it up because there's probably resistant starch in here, which actually is better for your blood sugar. So come on in, Linda. Good to see you. So, but this just takes 10 minutes to throw together. What I want you to start seeing though is from my observations, we tend to put a lot of whole grain. We kind of have, a little bit of veggie with a big bowl of rice. So, but I want you to start at least half, if not a third, 2/3 kind of. And so you'll see with the proportions here that we're doing, we're just going to have a little bit of the brown rice. So I'm going to get my pan out and we're going to start cooking. So, okay. So what I did here, the pinto beans, I think the directions say a blender, but I'm also, again, I did this I just matched it. Now let me, you need to put your weight behind it. So it's like that. Okay. So unless you got really strong arms, so I did this. We're not trying to make refried beans. Okay. This is good enough. We've got some mashed and some pieces because we're trying to make ground beefy look in the pan. So, and the walnuts you don't have to do in the blender. I just cut them up. So we're just going to, and I've got my onion. We'll go through cutting an onion next week. So, but I've got red onion, which gives that kick because this is a, kind of a south of the border kind of flavoring. So we want more kick there. So I've got garlic. Garlic, I want to show you real quickly though how to do garlic. You can use jar, but for this dish to get the most nutrition, I do like using raw. But if you want to use the jar, that's fine. Here's the full bulb. So you just take your knife in between one of the grooves and then you wiggle it. And you'll break them off. Don't try and cut them out, just wiggle them out. So, and then there's a couple different ways we can get this ready to mince. So we can just go right at it like boom, like that, okay? And then usually we can just kind of take the peeling off. It'll just come off. Sometimes there's the knob there that we want to cut off, but then you started. The other thing is if you like more of a neat and tidy, you can just take off the ends, both ends there. And then you can just start peeling it. It does take a little more patience because it takes time to peel it. Or you can take the ends off and do a little lip like that and just peel it. It'll come right off. I promise you, it'll come right off. And then you can, it does really help if you have gloves on to really do this too. So, hint, hint, no. So it comes easier without gloves. So, and then you can just chop it like that. So let it sit 10 minutes. We'll learn about that in a future class. Why 10 minutes to let it sit? So you want to do your garlic first in a recipe, even before you preheat the oven, if you're going to do it from raw. So we've got our raw. You see, I like garlic, so we've got lots of garlic. So I'm just going to use a skosh of my olive oil. And those many of you have been in the class with me before, but we want to make sure we have EVOO extra virgin olive oil. This is very, well, everything's gone up in price, but it's reasonable as far as olive oil goes. You can get it at any store around here. I'm going to actually, this pan is a little, had its life. So I'm going to spread this out just a little bit. There we go. And then I'm going to put the garlic in and let that cook. You can start with I could have gotten the onion going and get it kind of translucent, but here I just want to show you real quickly. Garlic, about 20 seconds is all we want to do. If you were at home, you would start to smell the garlic, and that's your cue that it's done, and you're going to burn it if you go further. So 20 to 30 seconds is all you want to do garlic at. Otherwise, it's useless because then you burnt it. So we're about 20 seconds, so I'm going to move that off the hot and move in my onion there and get that going. And I'm going to quickly, because I know we're out of time, but I'm going to show you real quick. I'm going to add here. And what we want to do is basically, I'm going to add my spices. So I've got all kinds of tremendous spices. Garlic, chili powder, do not get Tones or McCormick because it has added salt. So get another brand where you can read that it has no sodium. For these tones though, this one I use the cumin. You can peel, there's this peeling on the label that you can get off and like that. So that's a trick just with the tones, but lots of spices. And today, take note. Some of you might go, this is not strong enough, flavor enough because I'm not adding salt. So that is going to like be a huge hole that you need to fill with spices because most of us are tasting salt and that's it. So in a lot of these products. So I'm going to spread this out, kind of dry it out and cook it. So, and then I'm using a bigger pan too. You want to use a big pan to kind of get it spread out so it'll cook sooner. And then I'm going to add in my walnuts and want to kind of toast these a little bit with it because we're trying to make, you can kind of see, use your imagination here. This is kind of like ground beef fish, right? Right? Can you see that? So I'd probably cook it a little longer than we're going to get time to today. It's fine. It's not raw meat, guys. So we don't really have to worry about that. It's so nice. So I'm just going to spread this out and let this cook a little bit longer. But we're going to use the romaine lettuce leaf here. And the best part of the lettuce leaf is the top green. Okay, I know this is sometimes cringy, but you know what? The plant is breaking down and healing there. So unless it's really gross, I will use the end because that's the darkest green off there. So we're just going to take this off. I'm going to put it on there. And then I'm going to put a little bit of the rice. So we got that grain there.
And then rice, was that straight out of the box?
I cooked it. Now that was cooked. So I cooked it ahead. So I cooked that. It takes 1 to 1. So if I'm making 2 cups like I did there, 1 cup boiling water, 1 cup rice, 10 minutes with the lid on medium to medium low. So yeah, super easy. So you can do for raw. It just takes longer, a little planning. So, but if you want to plan earlier in the week, you can make it and just use it throughout the week. So, you know, brown rice raw is going to be cheaper than the minute. So, and then we're going to put on just a little bit of this. So looking like ground beef there, guys. Okay. So, and then we're going to finish off. Now this salsa, Linda's is the lowest sodium that we have. It's actually a local brand. It's made in Mammoth. So, and this is a corn salsa. It's the only one I could find mild. I wasn't going to get, because the mild still has kick. So I wasn't going to get you guys the hot. So we're just going to put that on, and then we could put, you know, scallions or some cilantro on top, or avocado. I've got some avocado here too. So the holy avocado, that way you don't have to worry about the avocado. It doesn't have added salt, so that's nice. So, and these keep for 3 months, remember? So if you're like, I'm never going to use that tree stuff, just put a date. I will write in permanent marker the 3 months date and put it in my freezer. And if you don't know what to make with this, there's a chocolate pudding silken recipe. That's really good with these. It takes 4 of these, so. Just saying, if you freeze it and you're like, I need to use this, I don't know what I'm going to use it for. So you can do that. So, you know, you wrap this up and then eat it. So there we go. Think about the nutrition in this and then how great it tastes.